What's up, everybody? It's Dingers with the boys. That's boys with a Z. I am Tim. I'm here with the Magic Man, Kyle.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Like Tim said, you're listening to Dingers with the Boys. This is our third episode. Last week, we talked about the in-season tournament, brand new tournament in the NBA. This season, we kind of went through the ins and outs of what it is. We made our brackets. We think of who is going to come out victorious, what players are playing well, what players are not playing well. So if you haven't listened to that one, definitely recommend go look at it, go listen, share with your friends, share with your families. You're going to be seeing them with Thanksgiving coming right around the corner. So it's a great listen, and we'd love to hear your feedback. What do we got on the docket for today, Tim?
So we're going to talk about the headlines first. Got some big things that happened in the sports world the last few days. First biggest thing, I think, one of the biggest things is Steelers fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, which he's been the offensive coordinator since 2021. This is the first time making a head coach or coordinator change in a season for the Steelers since 1941.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
I didn't realize it was that long for Pittsburgh. I know they got a lot of history, but I think this was coming.
Yep.
I mean, every single sports show you look at, there's signs everywhere, people chanting fire Canada. And
yep. And he's been the Steelers have been outgained in every game this season, which is kind of crazy because their record's 6-4.
Yeah.
So you'd think that if you've been outgained every game, you're definitely not going to have a winning record. And so their defense is playing amazing. But they did put Eddie Faulkner. He's their running back coach. He's taken over. But I did find it interesting that the QB coach, Mike Sullivan, they said is going to take the bulk of the play calling responsibility. So I was a little surprised that just Mike Sullivan didn't take the OC job. I don't know if it matters that much or what, if he's going to be doing the play calling anyways.
I mean, Mike Tomlin is an amazing coach. He doesn't have many losing seasons. I think the last one he had was 2007.
Yep.
So he's obviously putting his trust in whoever he thinks will be good and
give
the team the best chance to win.
Yep. And then we got Mike Schultz hired to be the new San Diego Padres manager. He was the former St. Louis Cardinals manager, and he replaces Bob Melvin, who went to San Francisco Giants. So we'll see how that kind of plays out with some free agency. I know they got a couple big free agents coming up. The NHL is going to try a four-nation tournament in 2025. And they did this back in 2016 as a preseason thing. They kind of want it to be a World Cup of hockey in a way. They're hoping eventually that it'll be every 4 years. So in between the Olympics, they have kind of a World Cup of hockey, which that'll be fun for sure. In 2025, they have U.S., Canada, Sweden, and Finland as the four teams. And so I think that'll be actually fun. Everybody loves the Olympics. I think that'll just bring more love to the sport of hockey. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch as well. Just so many amazing athletes from all four of those countries. So definitely love watching hockey. It'll be great to see athletes come together that aren't used to playing each other and just see how they react and how they merge and how they just play together and hopefully get some really good games and really good competition out of it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I think it'll be really exciting.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. And then our last big headline we have is from college football. Jordan Travis, who is the quarterback for Florida State, is done for the season. He had a pretty bad leg injury, which can be huge in the college playoffs. Right now, Florida State's 11-0. They were number 4 last week in the college football playoff rankings. I know another one's coming out tonight. They did clinch an ACC championship appearance already, which is huge. They won 16 straight, so it's not just him, but it's definitely going to be a big blow. They also have their starting center, Graham Mertz. He's out, so they have a redshirt freshman under center, Max Brown. So that'll be interesting to see how him and Tate Rodmaker is the backup, and he's been the backup for 4 years, so he definitely has been around Florida State, knows their offense and everything. But it'll be interesting to see how that affects the college playoffs, honestly.
Yeah, definitely sad to see a player like him go down, and with an injury as bad as that was. Definitely hope he can recover and rehab, and hopefully it's not a career ender. I mean, there's so many injuries like that, and you just pray and hope that he can recover and come back and do and play the game that he loves. And
Yep, for sure. Yeah, hopefully speedy recovery for sure. We're going to jump into college basketball, talk about that a little bit. The season started. Most teams have played 3 to 5 games or so. Just kind of some of our surprise, maybe some predictions and stuff. First, Bronny James warmed up for USC before last Sunday's game. It's first time since suffering a cardiac arrest in July, so it's good to see that. I think that he could definitely make the Trojans that much better when he comes back. I mean, they're ranked 23 in the country right now, but I think him coming back could definitely bring some to USC.
yeah, I think that'll be really awesome to see. It was definitely scary seeing Bronny's news of his cardiac arrest earlier this year. So it's really great to hear that he's back warming up and close and heading in the right direction to playing again. It's going to be really awesome to see him on the court and what he can bring to this USC team. Definitely one of the top stories in NCAA men's basketball this year for sure.
Yeah, I hope to see him play this season. It'll just be fun, and everybody wants to know if he's going to go pro and if LeBron's going to
join
him somewhere. And so it's a fun time to think about and just look. But yeah, it's just kind of fun in college basketball. I'm glad to see that he's recovering nicely. I think one of the biggest stories in college basketball right now is Hunter Dickerson. He transferred from Michigan. He plays for Kansas. He's the center for Kansas, and he's averaging his career bests in points per game and rebounds per game. He's got 24.3 points per game, 12.0 rebounds per game. That puts him at number 3 for points, number 4 for rebounds in the nation. But he is killing it for Kansas. They're 4-0. They did beat Kentucky, who was number 17 at the time. They were down big, but they ended up coming back, and Kansas is definitely a force to be reckoned with right now.
Yeah, Kansas, always is a top powerhouse in college basketball, but it's always great to see players that think, hey, I'm not being utilized in my current place where I am playing, so I'm going to transfer to this place, and then it's always cool to see them shining, being the player that they think they are, and us as fans being able to watch him and be like, yeah, man, this player really is something. It's awesome to watch him play. Awesome to watch all Kansas, the whole entire team play.
I think Hunter Dickerson and Zach Edey from Purdue would have an amazing matchup. I'd love to see that matchup. I think it would just be awesome to watch those two big guys go at it. We also got Isaiah Stevens for CSU, who has been playing out of his mind, honestly. He's 3rd in the nation in assists per game at 8, and he's averaging 16.8 points per game, which has CSU at 4-0. I know they're not ranked right now, but they got a vote last week, and I think we could see Colorado State and Colorado be in the top 25 this year at some point, the way that they're playing.
Always love seeing that too. Colorado teams being Colorado fans, CU and CSU fans. It's always great seeing our teams getting up there in the rankings. Usually it's not something we see all that often.
Yeah.
But definitely awesome to see Isaiah Stevens playing really well and the rest of the CSU and CU team playing so far really good.
Yeah, for sure. The one big surprise I have in college basketball this year is James Madison, which they're ranked 22 right now, which is kind of cool. They're actually ranked in football as well. So they're ranked in top 25 in football and top 25 in basketball, which is awesome to see. But they beat Michigan State, who was ranked number 4 at the time. Now they're number 21. They've lost to Duke and James Madison. But to beat Michigan State coming out of the off season is crazy, and they're a huge surprise. I hope they can keep it up and make some noise in the college basketball ranks.
Yeah, that would be really awesome to see. I remember seeing that upset after the first night in college basketball, and just seeing like how big of a win. I know it's only the first game of the season that they upset them, but I mean that could be one of the biggest upsets that we see all year.
For sure, yeah, definitely, and especially with a Tom Izzo coach team, I love watching him coach. He's one of my favorite coaches. I'm not a huge fan of Michigan State per se, but love watching Tom Izzo. And if I was in the position to pick a school, I would take a huge look at Michigan State strictly to play for him.
I think it also adds to it. Tom Izzo is so good in opening games historically as well. Like, so them to lose game 1, that's enormous.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go over to the women's college basketball, which I am so excited for the women's game to start getting more publicity and everything. People are finally catching on. And it seems like, especially over the last couple of years, there's a lot more teams that can possibly win a championship. It's not just those top 10 teams or anything like that. But it's just, I'm so happy that the women's game is actually getting a lot more publicity. What's crazy to me is Angel Reese, who plays for LSU, missed the last 2 games. And Kim Mulkey, who is the coach for LSU, is kind of staying mum on it. It's very interesting because Angel Reese is extremely outspoken. She's the one that pointed. Yeah, she's the one that pointed her finger
to Caitlin Clark.
To Caitlin Clark in the championship game. And it's very interesting that nobody really knows what's going on necessarily.
I kind of think maybe it's a story that's maybe being overlooked a little bit. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's just, I don't know, maybe she's sick, or maybe her family member passed away or something, like, and maybe the coach just doesn't think it's her place to really talk about. I don't know, but definitely hope that everything is okay and she can get back on the court, because she's so amazing to watch.
Yep.
So much fun to watch.
She definitely has a personality to her.
Yeah. Definitely makes it fun to watch, and definitely is bringing a cool energy to the sport.
Yep. And then speaking of Caitlin Clark, she is averaging 31 points per game, which leads the nation, and that's her best points per game for a year so far. She has 8 assists per game, 7.4 rebounds per game. The assists is 5th in the nation. She's just doing her thing. She's so fun to watch. I can't wait to watch her in the WNBA.
I think the coolest thing about Caitlin Clark is she kind of just makes it look so easy. And she never really shows off as much. Like, at least I personally don't think she does. It kind of just, to me, she seems like a player that goes in, plays her game, does her thing, and then at the end of the game, goes and celebrates with her team and celebrates a win or a good game.
For sure.
Kind of reminds me of LeBron in a way, that he's so good, but he doesn't really act like, oh, I'm way better than everybody else. He has a humble side to him. Yeah. I think Caitlin Clark has that as well.
For sure. Two players I want to mention before we move on is Malaysia Fulwiley and Hannah Hidalgo. Fulwiley plays for South Carolina. Hidalgo plays for Notre Dame. Hidalgo's averaging 6.8 steals per game, which leads the nation, which is insane to think about. She's sixth in the nation in points per game, and she leads Notre Dame in points, assists, and steals. It's just awesome to see these freshmen coming up and playing. And Fulwiley, she reminds me of Magic Johnson. Her passes and just her charisma is just awesome to watch. If you haven't yet, just go check out some videos for her. The one big surprise for me in basketball so far, in women's basketball, I have two, I guess. Maryland, they're out of the top 25 for the first time in 13 years. They have two losses, which was number 6 at the time, South Carolina, who's now number 1, and number 8, UConn, which is now number 6. So you can't really put too much on those losses. Those are some of the top teams. But it's just kind of crazy. They were in the top 25 for 251 consecutive weeks, which dates back to 2010-2011 season. And that's just crazy to me. And then CU women's basketball, I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I was surprised how handily they beat LSU. However, they are going to be great. They have Vonleh, Foreman, Sherrod, and Miller leading the way, and they're just so fun to watch. And I love having Colorado back up there.
Yeah, I think you definitely got to think that Maryland, with their coaching and their program, will definitely get back up in that top 25.
Yep.
And I think like one of the coolest things about opening weeks and opening games of college basketball is just seeing the shakeup of the top 25, because they've released the top 25 like rankings before any games have even played. And then after you see 5 or 6 games, you see how much it's really different and like how like crazy it can be, even like 5 or 6 games into the season. So I think that's one of my favorite parts about college basketball for sure, on both men and women. Just the disparity between the top teams and
it's
who
awesome.
People thought was going to be the top teams.
Yep, exactly. Well, we want to move on to something that we haven't really done before, but we're going to ask a question to each other and see what we kind of think. And we'd love for you guys to comment on our YouTube, Spotify, email, Twitter, whatever. Let us know what you guys think. But we're looking at the top 3 events in
past
sports,
or present.
Yep, past, present, future, if you want, that you would like to go to and why. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. My first one is Miracle on Ice, which was February 22nd, 1980. It was 1980 Winter Olympics. Herb Brooks was the head coach. The USA beat the Soviet Union 4-3. The Soviet Union had won 5 of the 6 previous gold medals, and they were 4-time defending champions in a row. The USA had mostly all amateur players. They had 4 players on minimal minor league experience, but pretty much all amateurs. They were the youngest team in tournament in U.S. national team history at 21 years average, which is crazy to think. They ended up winning the gold 2 days after beating the Soviets. And the Soviets were just so good at that time. They didn't lose in the Olympics since 1968. And they didn't actually lose to us again until 1991. So it literally was a miracle. And I think the decades-long Cold War just had such a big thing to this as well. And it was kind of crazy. Right before the Olympics started, the U.S. actually had an exhibition against the Soviets, and they got trounced 10-3.
Wow.
It was like, are you kidding me? That was 13 days before the Miracle on Ice. And I think it would just be so fun to go to.
Yeah, that would definitely be a really fun event to go to. Definitely one of my favorite movies. But yeah, definitely great event right there.
Yeah.
For my first event, I'm going to stick on the ice, but I'm going to go with the 2001 Stanley Cup finals with the Colorado Avalanche.
So much fun.
It was Game 7 here at home, and some of my favorite Avalanche players were on that team. So I think it would just be really cool to be at that event and see it. I was still pretty young. I was only 6 years old, so
Yep.
it'd be pretty cool to be able to like travel back and see that.
Yeah, that would have been such a fun one. I remember watching it on TV. We ended up winning 3-1, but just being a part of it, the Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Ray Bork, seeing him raise the cup would have just been so fun. I remember, watching it on TV. I was only 10 years old, but that would have been such a blast.
Yeah.
My next one was Wilt Chamberlain scoring his 100-point game. It was March 2nd, 1962. The Warriors beat New York Knicks 169-147. And this is the Philadelphia Warriors, by the way, he played for. It was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Wilt set 5 other records that night. I thought it was crazy that it wasn't televised and no video footage of the game exists.
So maybe it didn't actually happen?
Yeah, you never know. That would be kind of crazy if this was all conspiracy. But I actually found it really interesting that the Knicks started fouling other players in the fourth quarter so Wilt wouldn't get the 100 points. And then Philadelphia started fouling Knicks players to get the ball back quicker because they were kind of trying to like drain the clock and everything. So I found that very interesting. And the other thing was Wilt shot 28 of 32 free throws that night. And so 87.5 percentage. He averaged 51% for his career. So he destroyed on the free throws. And the one other thing that I really thought was cool that I'd like to go was there was only 4,124 people in attendance. So to be one of those would have been so cool.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool. Definitely. So I wonder at what point in that game his teammates kind of noticed that, all right, Wilt's really feeling it tonight. Let's just keep on feeding it, and maybe we can make some records.
Yeah, I did read a couple things that they gave up some open layups to give it to him.
Just to give him the ball. Exactly. That's really interesting.
Especially at the end. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
For my second event, I'm going to go basketball as well, but I'm going MJ. And specifically, I think I'm going to pick the game with the famous shot. It was the first game that he introduced Air Jordans. It was the first game that he played in Air Jordans. And again, like, I didn't really get to watch him growing up. I was a little too young, so I didn't really understand. And it would just be like really cool to see how good he actually was. I always have to rely on like my dad and other people telling me how good he was. And then maybe I can actually get in the debate of who is the GOAT, LeBron and MJ, but just as a really big basketball fan, it would be so cool to see MJ doing his thing and just dominating on the court.
Yeah, that game, it's kind of crazy because I feel like that shot almost started the Chicago Bulls kind of huge just dynasty. It was actually in the first round of 1989. It was Game 5, and it was against Cleveland, which at the time ended up being a huge upset because everybody thought Cleveland was going to win that game. But yeah, MJ actually took the lead with 6 seconds left. Cleveland came back, scored, go up by 1 with 3 seconds left. And then MJ came back and just hit the shot, and that would be so much fun. And after that, the history of Jordan just being, considered one of the GOATs.
Jordan.
Yep. My third and final one was Michael Phelps' 8 gold medals in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm not saying one event. I want to go to all 8 of those events. I know it was in the same Olympics, but I'd like to go to all 8. He set 7 of 8 world records in that. And everybody knows Michael Phelps. He has 28 total medals, most decorated Olympian of all time. He set 39 world records, and he won 8 golds, 8 out of 8 in 8 different categories. It was just amazing to watch. I remember watching it at my house with my family, and I just remember how awesome it would have been to be at that.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching a perfect game in MLB, but for an Olympic event, like seeing, oh my gosh, Michael Phelps has 4 golds,
Yep.
4 out of 4. Now he's 5 out of 5. Now he's 6 out of 6. Just kept on going up. So
Yeah, just had everybody talking about it every single day. Like, oh, did you see Michael Phelps won another one and stuff? And,
it was fun. That would be sweet.
Yep.
For my third and final event, I don't even know if this is really considered a sport, but I actually think it'd be cool to travel back and see a gladiator match in the Roman Colosseum.
That would be an experience.
I think it'd be pretty sweet. Like, it's kind of like a funny one to think about, but if you don't know about the Roman Colosseum, it was actually pretty cool. Like, it had 87,000 people that it could hold, which is bigger than a lot of NFL stadiums here and bigger than a lot of stadiums nowadays. But it could empty in 10 minutes. Imagine, like, doing that when you're going to, like, a Broncos game or, like, something like that. And then, not all people actually died. That's kind of a misconception. So when gladiators would fight, not every single time would they kill each other. A lot of people did end up dying, but it didn't happen every single time. They'd also hold hunts versus like exotic animals like jaguars and lions and tigers and all that. But that was just like the thing to do back in like the Roman Empire. And actually, like, Romans got in free. Like, so if you were a Roman, you could just walk in the gate and guards wouldn't do anything. If you were a foreigner, though, you'd have to pay a few coins to get in. But I just think that would be kind of cool. Like,
that would be awesome.
Be part of history and see, like, how it actually was.
That would be awesome, and it'd be different than anything that we could even think of right now.
Yeah.
And so that would be awesome. We're going to take a little break here. You can hear a little word from our sponsor, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more. But we'll be back soon.
You're doing Christmas shopping and you're stuck in a lurch. Come on down to Colorado Hat and check out our merch. Colorado Hat Company, located at Colorado Mills Mall. Tell them the Dingers sent you.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Dingers with the Boys. That's with a Z. I'm Tim. I'm here with the Magic Man, Kyle.
Yo, what's up? So we got Thanksgiving coming right around the corner. Me and Tim thought it'd be a really cool thing to have a little draft of our favorite turkey dinner foods.
Yep. Thanksgiving dinner foods. We're going to do a draft. We're going to pick 5 each. See how it goes. You guys can let us know.
Who's got the best picks?
Yep. And let us know what your picks would be if you had to. So we're going to flip a coin to see who goes first here.
Heads.
It is tails. Sorry. It is tails.
So Tim, you got first pick.
I got first pick. I'm going to go with, man, it's tough. I actually wanted second pick. So I'm going to go with ham. Actually, I'm going to go ham with my very first pick.
All right, my first pick, I'm going to go, and some people don't even say this is really a Thanksgiving dinner, but I love them so much. Cheesy potatoes.
Oof, that's a tough one. I love cheesy potatoes. Tough miss there for me.
Oh, my second pick? I'm going to go, I'm going to go with stuffing as my second pick.
Man, I did not think you were going to go stuffing there. That's a rough couple to miss there. But I'm going to bounce back here. I'm going to go mashed potatoes and gravy with my second. Got to have the potatoes with it. And third,
that's really good too.
Yeah, love that. Third, I'm going to go mac and cheese.
Okay.
Got a little variety there.
That definitely hurts, but I got the cheesy potatoes, so
Yeah.
I got the cheese covered. So I'm gonna take turkey off the board. Definitely gotta have turkey in there. So my fourth pick, and I'm trying to think maybe dessert here. I'm gonna go with cookies, like chocolate chip cookies.
Okay. Chocolate chip cookies. Let me think here. So I got two more picks. I already got ham, mashed potatoes, gravy,
Mac and cheese.
I'm gonna go dessert as well. I'm gonna go Jello.
Okay.
So I feel like Jello is definitely kind of a Thanksgiving food. For my final pick, I'm gonna have to go with dinner rolls. Just kind of.
Oh man, I was hoping that was still gonna be there. Dinner rolls would have been my pick. Number 5, my last pick. I'm just gonna. I guess I'll go a more like healthy route, but it's still pretty good. I'm gonna go with just like green beans.
Oh, terrible! That's the worst pick of the draft. So there's our picks. So Tim, I got ham, mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and cheese, Jello, and dinner rolls.
Then I had cheesy potatoes, stuffing. I'm already forgetting what I picked. Turkey, chocolate chip cookies, and then green beans.
Yeah. So let us know what you do. Do this at home too. Go ahead and let us know how you and your family pick, and we'll pick what we like out of your picks as well. So it's just kind of a fun thing to do, and definitely a conversation starter with especially kids and different stuff at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know what you think.
Definitely fun.
We're going to go into the Thanksgiving games a little bit, just some history, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the games coming up this year as well. So some of the history of the NFL Thanksgiving games.
Yeah, some fun facts for you in case you didn't know. So for the first Thanksgiving game, it's not NFL, but it was played in 1876. It was Princeton versus Yale, so way long ago.
Yeah,
but it's definitely awesome to think about.
Yeah, 150 years about. It's crazy to think just the history of it.
And then the long-lasting team that always seems to play on Thanksgiving is the Detroit Lions. They've been playing every single year since 1934, other than 1939 to 1944, missing only 6 years. That was during World War II. So just to think that they played so many games and have such a history playing on Thanksgiving is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're the team to do it too, because it's not like they're a top team necessarily. So you'd think that even like at that time, I don't think they were a top team necessarily. You'd think that they'd kind of do a storied franchise necessarily.
Well, it was like
more, but
the Detroit owner at the time, he wanted to earn a little bit more money. He wanted a little bit more audience, so he thought, I'm going to move and play on Thanksgiving, and he actually had a record audience, which was around 25,000 people. Which,
that was a great decision for him.
And then it's crazy, the Cowboys, they started playing on Thanksgiving every year since 1966. And since then, they've only missed 2 seasons. So definitely, like, that one makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Dallas Cowboys are America's team, and
especially in the last, like, 50 years.
Yep. So that one definitely makes a lot more sense. And again, it's crazy only missing 2 years in that span. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're loving the revenue from it as well. I'm sure that's a huge one.
And then it was also crazy. The only team that hasn't ever played on Thanksgiving is the Jacksonville Jaguars. No idea why they haven't played, but I was surprised to even see that there was a team that hasn't played on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I know they're a newer franchise. They were in the 90s, but Houston's more of a newer franchise than
Yeah.
them, and they've played. And you'd think that there's something, because like we were just saying, the revenue has to be higher on these, because
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, you watch football. And so for a team not to get it, and I'm interested to see what the other teams would think about the Cowboys and the Lions always playing like kind of unfair almost, but it's tradition. So it's just kind of stays in it.
And then finally, one tradition that John Madden brought in was the MVP of games always got a turkey leg.
Which awesome.
Yeah.
You play an NFL game.
Who doesn't love turkey legs?
Yeah.
Right?
That brings us back to the Roman Empire and stuff. And
Yeah.
the Colosseum, I'm sure there was a lot of turkey legs at that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if the players actually enjoy that, because I know when I play sports, I don't really want to eat right after.
Man, I think I'd be the opposite. I'm so hungry after just playing lights out that give me the turkey leg.
Yeah.
I want to chow down.
Yeah, for sure. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the actual games that are this Thursday, and let's pick our roasted turkey leg winners, who we think is going to win. And for our picks this week, let's pick these 3 games. There's 3 games. Last week, I went 3-0 with Purdue winning, with
Purdue beating Gonzaga.
Yep, the Chiefs
the Eagles
losing to the
beating
Eagles,
the Chiefs.
and then K-State beating Kansas. And we both had that one. You had the other 2. So right now our records, I'm 3-0. Kyle's 1-2. So let's hopefully Tim keeps that going.
Hopefully I get back on track.
Yeah. So let's talk about those. So the very first game, we got Green Bay Packers at Detroit Lions. It's a 10:30 Mountain Time game. It'd be nice to watch football in the morning. Definitely an interesting matchup, because the Packers are 4-6, Lions are 8-2, so they actually are a great team right now. I'm going to go with the Lions. I think they're going to get it done. I know their record's not the greatest on Thanksgiving. However, I think they're going to get it done. And I think Jared Goff is going to destroy the Packers. I think he's getting the turkey leg for sure. He's going to find St. Brown maybe a couple times in the end zone, a couple other people. And I think he's just going to kill it, and the Lions are going to take the win.
I'm gonna follow you on there. I'm also picking Detroit. They definitely struggled for Chicago last year. I think they make the necessary adjustments, fix those mistakes. So they're going to get the win. I don't think it's going to be in the passing game, though. I think it's going to be a running attack. Packers are very bad against rushing. So Gibbs and Montgomery are probably going to go crazy. I think Montgomery finds the end zone maybe twice. I think he gets the turkey leg.
Okay. So we got a little different on the turkey leg. We'll see how that goes. Next one, we got Washington Commanders at Dallas Cowboys. Commanders are 4-7. Cowboys are 7-3. I do think the Commanders are a little bit better than their record shows. However, they should have lost to the Broncos, but that's another story.
Yeah.
I think this will be an interesting game, because the Cowboys' defense is just so good, and I'm loving it on my fantasy team. I got them on my fantasy. They're killing it for me. They've definitely won me a couple weeks. But I think I was thinking about going with a Cowboy defensive player for the turkey leg. However, I'm going to go Pollard, who's also on my fantasy team. I think he's finally going to kind of break through after some struggling weeks. I think he's going to score twice against the Commanders, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Cowboys to win it.
I think Cowboys, I'm definitely picking them to win as well. I would not be surprised if Dallas scores defensively. I mean, earlier in the season, Sam Howell was on pace to break the record for being most sacked quarterback of all time, beating Derek Carr. So I definitely can see Dallas sacking Sam Howell quite a bit. For the turkey leg, though, I think I'm going to go Dak Prescott. He's been playing really well lately. Washington lets up a lot of passing yards. So I'm going to go Dak Prescott.
All right, that's a solid pick. Yeah, he's been going off the last couple of weeks, especially. And Dallas is definitely a team to watch going forward. I think they can actually.
They definitely can be, for sure.
Yeah, they can actually do something maybe this year. Final game, it's at 6:20 Mountain Time. It's got the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers are 7-3, Seahawks are 6-4. Now, this is an interesting matchup to me because the 49ers, at one time, I thought they weren't going to lose a game. And then now they've dropped 3, and it's different. It just feels different around watching the 49ers play. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to get back on pace. I know he had a couple.
Yeah, his streak ended, but he started a new streak.
Yeah, and it's funny because even when you say McCaffrey has an off game, it's
still a great game.
Yeah, it's still great. So I think McCaffrey's going to get it done. He's going to be chowing on the turkey leg at the end of the game with the 49ers going into Seattle, and I think the 49ers are going to win this game.
I'm again going to agree with you on there. I think 49ers take this game. There's just too many injuries in the Seahawks secondary. I think Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel and Kittle and Ayuk and all the other dangerous people and McCaffrey, like there's just too much dangerous players that can just gash the Seahawks defense. So I think they definitely win. I'm going to also pick McCaffrey to get the turkey leg. I think a multiple touchdown game is incoming, maybe one from the pass, one from the ground. But I think he ends up with the turkey leg as well.
So we finally picked the same on the turkey leg. We all also picked our 3 picks the exact same, so we'll see how we do. It's nice for me because no matter what, I'm going to be up still next week, so I like it, you know. But let's go ahead and do Kyle's 2 players to watch this week and let us know how the others did from last week.
Yeah, so last week I picked De'Aaron Fox from Sacramento Kings and then Trey McBride from the Arizona Cardinals. De'Aaron Fox definitely had a really good game against the Spurs. He had 43 points, led him to a victory. Then he kind of had to deal with a blowout versus the Pelicans. They just were not clicking. Fox still had a pretty decent game, but, I mean, a blowout kept him out basically the whole fourth quarter. Trey McBride for Arizona, he still had a decent game. He had 5 catches on 7 targets for 43 yards, but Kyler Murray kind of struggled a lot. He threw a couple picks, and so it just kind of seemed like the opportunity was there, and they just couldn't capitalize. For my 2 players that I'm going to highlight this week, I'm first going to pick a NFL game happening on Thursday. I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel versus the Seahawks. Like I said earlier, they have a lot of injuries in the secondary, and Deebo always seems to play really well against the Seahawks. He has multiple games with over 100 yards receiving. And he kind of was like, I think he was bothered by an injury that kept him out a few weeks, but he's starting to come back to form. He's utilized so much in this game, in this offense, that I think he causes a real problem for the Seahawks. I think he has a really good game. For my second player, I'm going to go Giannis from Milwaukee Bucks. He's got somewhat of a difficult matchup, but, I mean, this is Giannis. He's playing out of his mind, and it kind of seems like he's playing to show people that, hey, I didn't just get my money and going to kind of coast. He's here to win championships, and I think he's going to have some really good games. He plays Washington again. He plays Boston. I think he's going to continue to just dominate.
Awesome. Yeah, keep an eye on those 2 players. See how we did. And if you want bets for each day, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. It's TK Dingers, and it's Dingers with the boys with a Z. But we post bets every single day, kind of our dinger bets of the day. And if you are into that, for next week, we're going to talk about some MLB baseball, some of the Hall of Fame stuff.
Yep.
Got a couple other things that we're going to also discuss. But let us know how we did. Go to YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. That's Dingers with the Boys with a Z. Go ahead and subscribe to us so you don't miss anything. And check us out. Let us know how we do. Comments, anything
Definitely,
like that.
Share with your friends. And, I mean, hope everybody has an amazing Thanksgiving. Hopefully with your family, maybe friends, loved ones. But yeah,
You have all you, like Kyle said, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you later, alligators.
Peace.
Peace.